You ought to go.
Shout out to Matt Cannister as well for those WWE inspired entrances. I mean, we did the whole Camp coming in from the street as security for the last episode. Then we had him coming in as Goldberg. We had him climbing a ladder. We had Lefko had to do a show for you one week, and then we got an angle where you took him out with the briefcase and cashed in your opportunity.
I did.
So a lot of fun times there with that show.
It was epic.
And I had so much fun getting all the comments and gathering them for you to read on air, especially with the waiver wire stuff and who should I play today. I mean that show was made. Yeah, it was made for Facebook Live.
Just to paint the picture, so we're in this little studio in Bleacher Report's Midtown offices at the time, and so it's Camp and I on set, and we had this huge, I don't even know how many inches this monitor was. It must have been like a 90-inch screen, and Durst here would plug in his laptop into an HDMI, and he'd have the comment section streaming on half the screen, and then like a Word document on the other half, and he would be copying and pasting the most interesting questions, comments, jokes that we could then reference on the air. So if we were having a segment that was basically start sit, people would say, hey, I got, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks, and Amari Cooper. Like I have start two. Durst would copy that over. I would read that, and then Camp would answer. And we were doing that all in real time. And, yeah, I mean, it was like your people are probably hearing that workflow right now and being like, really? That's how it worked? Yeah, that's how it worked. We made it work, and we made it fun. It wasn't crystal clear, it was a little dirty, but it was us, and it was authentic, and I think people appreciated that.
Yeah, I would say it was probably like the Hank Aaron of getting Facebook comments in real time. So, to my own arm right there.
Hey, toot away there. Yeah.
But any wrestling comment automatically got on the air. Automatically. And before we move on to your current position here, I learned this past summer that as far as WWE goes, you actually named your dog Sable. Is that correct?
Yes, my very very first dog, it was a Japanese Akita. When I was growing up in Southern California, with such a good dog, and named Sable. And anybody who's a wrestling fan is well aware of who Sable is, who her husband is, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar's wife, yeah. Sable won the Monday Night Wars for WWE.
An underrated part of Vince McMahon's empire build there in the 90s.
You still keep up at all with wrestling? I mean, I remember we did a few wrestling WWE live streams in your time there with
we did,
and we actually
you're right, we did
one episode, which was crazy. But WrestleMania coming up next weekend, which is going to be really weird with no fans, 2 days. Interesting to see how that comes out. So you're at Bleacher Report, and then I guess it was in the works, and before you know it, after 3 years and almost 4 years there, they're moving over to Secaucus, going to the network, MLB and NHL. Again, I'll ask you the same question I asked you for all of your moves. How did that come about?
Well, anytime you have an opportunity to go to Secaucus, New Jersey, you have to take it, Durst. That's first and foremost. But
right, you got the Goya Bean Factory out there as well.
You're damn right we do. You're damn right we have the Goya Bean Factory. There's also a Wendy's there. But to get to to answer your question, Dana Collins, I'm going to shout her out.
Producer.
Yes, who is a massive part of BR's content operation, massive part, behind the scenes, of course. So her husband, Chris, is a producer at MLB Network and has been so for several years now. And again, relationships and timing. And got an audition at the network, which was a thrill, walking inside Studio 3 and to seeing the different sets and, you know, the logos and, you know, the picture of the Babe plastered on the outside there. Like, it was so cool, because MLB Network has long been regarded as, you know, one of, if not the best run sports network in America. And honestly, if you look at the league networks and even beyond that, like, I just think the production quality of what's done here is second to none. Al Leiter was my guest analyst, Kelly Nash, Jamie Hirsch. They just made that day such a thrill for me. And I was just fortunate enough to get this opportunity. It was, again, I didn't know, you know, given my history with the TV side of things, I just didn't think that, you know, working for a regional or a national sports network was ever going to be in the cards for me. But blessed that it was, and blessed that it was at MLB Network, because, you know what, Durst, that eventually led me back to you.
I mean, the biggest part about you moving to the network here, and this is like the major impact on your career, is that at the time when you were at Bleacher Report, your Twitter handle was Steven __ Nelson. How did MLB Network get in touch with Twitter to get you the @Steven Nelson handle?
Honestly, that was the end of an era. You know, double underscore was, you know, if people didn't call me Nelly for a nickname, people would call me double underscore, which was a lot of syllables. I don't think that works for the nickname, but that didn't stop folks from using it. There was a Twitter handle, Steven Nelson, with a PH, no spaces, that was taken, but the dude hadn't tweeted in several years, and the last one was like spam for cat food or something. And then there was also somebody who has an account with one underscore. So I had to do the two. You know, I didn't want to do like middle initial, or like, remember that thing, the Twitter handles, it was like the real so-so. I just thought that was just so pretentious and stupid. So I was like, I wasn't going to do that. I didn't feel like adding like station call letters or wherever I was, or Steven Nelson TV. Like, it was all bad. So I was like, I just want my name. The underscores work. I'll do two. And I shouts to the network, you know, social media team for pulling the strings that they have, I guess, because it was real quick that I went
Shout out
from
to my former boss, Tim Shanahan, for getting you the handle. But Shanny did yeoman's work there. But we had to pour not one, we had to pour two out, one for each underscore when that change happened. A lot of times, you know, when I was making your graphics at Bleacher Report, I always had to make sure the double underscores in there for the Twitter handle. But you know,
thank you.
So you're at Bleacher Report, and then you did a lot of play-by-play with those high school games. You know, that came full circle for you. And then, so I guess the network, you know, they must have saw that. They must have also saw your hockey play-by-play demo reel with the Rockford Ice Hogs, because before too long, you know, they're sending you out to do the World Juniors. What was your reaction when you were told, you know, we're going to have you do the play-by-play for this huge tournament?
Really? That was my reaction. I had to ask them, I had to make sure that they knew what they were asking for and what they were getting into. Because I was like, yeah, I have called games, but A, that doesn't mean those were good, and B, that doesn't mean this is going to be any good now, because they weren't good for in Rockford. But you know, that was a dream come true moment for me to call a hockey game on national television. It learned on the fly, you know, those tournaments, it's, you know, for you know, every country is hoping it's 7 games in 10 days, because if you play 7 games, that means you're playing for a medal. But it's kind of a short sprint, and so you have to get to know these players, and, you know, familiarity and recognizability with the numbers, without having ever seen these teenagers play. And so it was a challenge, but it was also a thrill. And I was able to lean on Dave Starman, who's been doing that for a number of years, and, you know, talk to Steve Mears, one of my predecessors at the network, who's now the play-by-play voice for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mearsy was helpful. You know, I know Paul Severino did that as well before before I had the wheel, so to speak, of the World Junior Championships. But to do that tournament last 2 years, granted 2 different ways. You know, we were there in person in BC, but this last year, with it being in the Czech Republic, we had to call the games from a VO booth here in Secaucus. So that presented its own challenge. And listen, I'm not saying I aced the test. You know, there were plenty of Twitter viewers who let me know that, and which is fine. But I still relish every opportunity I have to call games, no matter the platform, whether it was Facebook Live with Bleacher Report or here on TV with the network.
So it must have been like a real thrill to call that tournament. But another really thrilling moment of your career had to have been, I believe it was in Milwaukee, the Facebook Live game. You went to go down the slide. Is that the most thrilling moment of your career right there?
Honestly, I could have quit the next day and been totally happy. So true story. I was the original idea for my role playing, working sideline for that particular broadcast. It was the border war between Milwaukee and Minnesota, so Twins and Brewers, former division rivalry. The original concept was for me to be in the brat race. So as I think most baseball fans know, there's, they have mascot races or presidential races in DC. Well, in Milwaukee, it's the brat race. So I was going to be one of those. And then the day of the game comes and it's like, it turns out it's just not gonna work out. But you can go down, Bernie's slide, Bernie being the Brewers mascot. And I was like, hell yes. Oh, I got to sign a waiver? Sure. I mean, tell me where. And I was able to do that for a segment. And first of all, that thing is high up. Second of all, they give you like the potato sack to put to go down. Like it was genuinely scared. Like I was going to ride up like the side and fall over. Like if I'm Bernie, he like goes down with authority. Like he'll jump down, my first run, I sat down and I kind of creeped forward. I don't want to generate too much speed because I don't want to go overboard here. But yeah, you're right, Durst. That was the thrill of a lifetime. And we got to stay at the haunted Pfister Hotel there in Milwaukee.
Scary stuff. Scary stuff in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So, at the network here, obviously it's unique. You're working for MLB and NHL. What's your favorite show to host between the 2 networks?
Favorite show to host between the 2 networks. I'll have to say, I haven't hosted all of them, as you know. I've done the Rundown. I've done MLB Tonight. I've been a guest on MLB Central.
Hot Stove.
I have not. I've done Hot. You're right. I have done Hot Stove. I'll say MLB Tonight though, just because there's more tools at your disposal. There's a lot more to play with. In terms of the studio space, you get to go in 42, and do demos, and me. Like I'm always pitching different, AKA dumb segments, and fortunately, producers more often than not will give them the green light. So to be able to kind of explore the space, as Christopher Walken once said. I think that's probably the most fun. But I'm not smart enough to host MLB Now. I maintain that, and I'm probably too basic to pinch hit on high heat.
I don't know.
Unlike our boy,
Adnan did an incredible job, despite Mad Dog not being able to say his name.
Well, which is this legendary. Christopher Mad Dog Russo, his pronunciation of Adnan's name, and also Yuli Gurriel, like that. It just makes me happy every time you hear him say those things. But no, I'm saying I'm too, like, Adnan is not basic. Adnan will say some stuff. He'll tell you his opinion. He'll tell you what's on his mind. Whereas me, I'm like, nobody really cares what's on my mind. So it
also can't be easy to start a show with a 25-minute model.